It's not working on X again for some reason. Hey guys, this is Bruce. Welcome to Convocourses Podcast, and today is open topics on GRC. Any Q&A you have on learning this branch of cybersecurity is completely open topics. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Twitter, and I'm live on podcast right now. So I'm watching your podcast, and I'm on Instagram. I got to turn Instagram on real quick. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook. So any questions you have whatsoever, this is a great opportunity to ask. A professional who's been doing this for over 20 years. I normally start at around 1. I'm starting a little early so I can go a little longer. But yeah, completely open topics. If you're trying to get in this is specifically pointed towards people who are already in IT and want to upgrade. If that is you, then I could answer your questions and it will level you up. If you happen to be trying to get into IT, or if you've been thinking about it, then stay around, listen, ask questions about it. This is an opportunity for you to learn from somebody who's already on the inside, been doing this for a long time. And I can give you an honest take on doing cybersecurity, an honest take. Because it's not, some influencers will make it look like you're instantly going to be making $100,000, $200,000 living overseas and all that kind of stuff. And that's just not realistic, especially if you're starting out in this field. Is it possible? It is. It's definitely possible. I've touched the hem of the garment of that lifestyle, but as far as like traveling and being able to do all that kind of stuff. But the thing I could tell you that I can promise you that this field does for you is to give you stability, a level of stability that you will not find in most career paths because it's still growing. And people ask me all the time, well, what about AI? Like, is AI going to take over? Should we still be pursuing this career path? If AI's here, it's going to be gone in 10 years or whatever. So AI itself needs compliance. Right now, the biggest struggle with AI is that it needs cybersecurity compliance. It needs GRC. It needs safety measures put in place because otherwise you can do some really harmful things. It can be very, very destructive if we don't control it as a society, right? Not talking about limiting freedom of speech or things like that. I'm talking about there's things you can do with it that are absolutely dangerous that can kill a lot of people. So or lead kids astray, right? If kids get a hold of it, like there's got to be safety features in AI, and that's where people like myself come in. That's where people like you come in. If you become a cybersecurity professional, they need our help to actually start to put the put the screws down on this new technology, and that's been the case. Like every time a new technology comes in, immediately we have to figure out like how to protect this, how to have some controls in place to limit thresholds so it doesn't hurt people when we do put this in commercial practice. Okay, I've got some questions already coming in. Big Gay Mike, hey man, how you doing? Big Gay Mike says it takes years to get a six figures. He's absolutely right. For most cases, there are exceptions to every rule. Okay, so there are exceptions to get to six figures. Off the top of my head, if you happen to be, I don't know, have a bachelor's or master's degree coming out of school and you're in the DMV area and you happen to have a clearance already, you could probably net six figures real quick. If you coming out of the military and you have a secret or top secret clearance and you've got a little bit of security under your belt, a little bit of IT under your belt, and you've only been doing this 2 or 3 years, and you live in the DMV area, you could probably pull down six figures. Six figures is really not that big of a deal. But for most people, for the average American across the country, Colorado, Wisconsin, Wyoming, Omaha, Nebraska, where you're not really close to a whole bunch of federal infrastructure, um, it's going to be like Big Game Mike says. It's going to take a little bit longer for you to get a six-figure salary. It's going to take most people, the average person, many years, especially if you're starting from nothing, right? If it's not coming from the military, you don't have a clearance, You don't have any kind of IT background, it will take you years to get to a six-figure salary. And that's just being I'm just telling you the truth. That said, you can get pretty good money. You can get better than average money getting into IT within a few years. Within a few years, you'll be making better than most people from starting from scratch. And look, there is a huge learning curve. Not It's not for everybody. Like I always say on here, it's definitely this field is not for everybody. But if you put in the work, if you put in the time, if you focus and get to know the actual information, get the skills under your belt, if you're willing to do the work, you can totally make more than the average American within a couple of years, or sooner, depending on where you live and what skill set you're amassing. Okay, let me see here. Yeah, one of the great things about this community, I've got people like Big K Mike and many others who join me, and they'll chime in and actually help you. We've got actual cybersecurity and IT professionals who've been doing this many years, who are specialists in many different fields, who will be in the comments helping you out. So listen to those guys too. So he's saying put in the work and it's possible though. Yeah, absolutely possible. And like I said, there are exceptions to every rule. So, oh, what happened? Oh my goodness. Do you need some a band-aid or something? Okay, hold on, guys. How did you do that? With a knife or something? Yeah. Oh, it's band-aid. There you go. Go. Okay. Yep. All right. Yeah, I'm live, guys. So I apologize for that. Stuff happens. All right. All right. Let's get back into this. Sorry about that. My wife like cut herself, so I have to put a band-aid on. Okay. Let's see here. More questions. I'm gonna keep this one. I'm not gonna go too long on this. I started early so I can do more time on this one, but I gotta go see Deadpool and Wolverine, so I'm not gonna. I got a date. Misha says, "Hey everyone." Diaz says, "Will cybersecurity be in the future even due to AI?" Yes, I get this question every time I do a live. Every time I do a live, there's a lot of hype around AI, and rightly so. It's an amazing technology. It's clearly going to change the trajectory of humanity. Clearly, but I think there's a misconception about what it can do and what it's capable of and what it is not capable. And once you start messing around with it after a while, you start to see how effective it is, how great it is as a tool for doing documentation or finding out more information and going deeper, deep diving into different technologies and all this kind of stuff. It's a huge help for documentation. But it does have limitations right now. It's developing very, very quickly. And so what the pundits on your major media outlets are saying is that look, it's going to take over everything. Jobs are gone. It's a crisis. It's gonna be like Skynet. They're saying just all kinds of doomsdayers and just saying that how great it is. It's gonna make us live forever. Like all of this insane talk about it. And some of it, they're probably very close to hitting the mark. There are some huge dangers with it. Will it take over jobs? I think it'll shift jobs. It'll be more of a shift of jobs. Some jobs will have to change into something else. Or professionals will need to start using these tools because it's that useful. It's going to be integrated in the tools you already use. That's what I can say. Some of the flaws with it is that it hallucinates. It doesn't give you a high level of assurance if you're dealing with multi-billion dollar contracts or multi-million dollar investments and stuff like that. You don't have a lot of assurance. It can make a mistake and lose you and lose lives and millions of dollars and make huge mistakes. And you can clearly see that when you mess around with large language models. But to Diaz's question, will cybersecurity be in the future due to AI? Absolutely, cybersecurity will be very necessary. It will change. I believe it will evolve to include safety. Right now, our main focus as cybersecurity professionals is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality meaning we need to hold patients' secrets. Like if you go to a hospital, make sure that they don't know your diagnosis. Like it's confidential. It's only for your eyes only, right? And that goes for the government. That goes for federal IDs, social security numbers. That goes for all that kind of secret and financial records, all of that. Confidentiality, that's what that means. Then you've got integrity. That's a good example of this is when you're on your banking app and you say, I want to deposit a check into my account, right? You want integrity means that the check that you sent to the bank, it has the same number of zeros and commas on it that you sent. Like nobody tampered with the information when it went from point A to point B. It wasn't corrupted by something got mangled on the wire or something like that. It wasn't somebody didn't tamper with it and hack it, do some malicious code, and then send it on its way. Integrity means the original intent of the information you sent is still the same original intent you sent when it gets to plan B, when it gets to point B, right? Point A to point B. So that's what that means. And then you got availability. That means, is the information available? Is the information available? And that's really important to things like a website. If you have a website where you're advertising a bunch of information, it's super important that that information that we're trying to give to our customers and clients is available. So those are the three tenets: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. What I mean is we're gonna have to include something else, and that something else is safety. Because with AI, you can do all kinds of dangerous things. You can ask it to build dangerous products from household items, right? Without safety features built in, it will tell you. It will tell you how to do it. If you could take a picture of all the dangerous things in your household and then and then have it compile something that's dangerous, have another use for it. It's something that just going on the internet, you could probably find it on the internet, but this AI is different in that it can compose new things based off of information you give it. So that's just one example of safety. One really good example I could give that terrified me was that AI is so good that if you gave it information from Wi-Fi, like you gave it all the Wi-Fi logs and access to Wi-Fi on a network within a building, if AI has access to the actual radio frequencies going from the Wi-Fi, it can figure out who is in the building and where they are in the room. I saw a live demonstration of this, of how AI was able to do it. And instantly you're thinking, well, if it can do that, then what else could it do? If it can take all that information from a Wi-Fi signal inside of a room and determine where people are standing inside the room based off of how the radio waves are bouncing around in the room, what else can it do? Well, I can tell you another thing that it can do is it can, for lack of a better word, it can read people's mind. Let me explain before you freak out. So what they start doing in labs is putting electrodes on a person's brain and looking at the brainwave patterns when they say certain words. Certain parts of your brain light up when you do certain activities, including speak. It's with AI in place, it's so accurate with detecting patterns that it can Figure out what you are thinking based off of, or based off of what activities are going on inside your brain, using the brain waves, like looking at what patterns are going on in your brain. Safety is super important. Will cybersecurity be necessary in the next 10 years? Yeah, it will be, because we need to have governance, risk, and compliance in place to control who has access to these tools. It's just like, it's kind of like, think of it like this. Even the most hardcore Second Amendment person who's all for guns, right? And I'm for gun rights too, and whatever. But I don't think people should be walking around with an RPG or grenades, right? I don't think that a person should be able to walk in the Walmart with a grenade or some explosive devices or something that can launch an explosive device, right? I don't think that anybody's going to disagree with you on that. I mean, most people won't disagree with you on that. Similarly, there are certain technologies that are so powerful, it's a danger to everyone if certain people if it gets in the wrong hands. And if they have it in their hands, they need to be punished to within the full extent of the law. Are you tracking? Cybersecurity is super important. It's going to be important. It's going to be important. It's going to be important for the next 10, for the next 100 years. It's going to change. It's going to evolve. It's been evolving though. It's been evolving. All right, guys, I'm going to shift gears. I'm going to stay on TikTok. I'm going to stay live on my podcast, but I need to shift gears to another channel. Thank you guys for watching so much. I really appreciate it. But I'm going to turn this off for a bit and then come back on. If you want to follow the rest of this, follow me on Convocourses on YouTube. And Big Rob, how you doing, sir? He says, I'll read this last question. He says, I believe certain jobs in retail, manufacturing, and transportation will be highly affected by AI. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Because it's being implemented as we speak, and across all the industries that you just mentioned. It's being implemented because it makes it easier. It's like it's the next evolution of software. That's what's happening. So will it evolve? Will it change all industries, including cybersecurity and IT? It absolutely will. And AI is not going to replace us. Somebody who uses AI will replace you. So learn to use AI. All right, guys, I'm going to switch gears here on YouTube. Thank you guys for watching so much. I've got to switch to the other channel.